welcome back, everybody. It's the OPP Global again, Open Peace Global. And today we're joined by Jared and Anna. And I'm going to be your host today, Abood Cohen. And all right, OPP Global, if you're new, is a new segment we started that we basically update you with news around the world and, give our 2 cents on them. And today we have some around 7, 8 articles that we chose from the team. Let's check out the first one. Ready, guys?
Well, before we do that, we should just mention. So our last episode we had to take down at the request of the person who was in the episode, just for safety and everything. So if you're wondering about that, you're just not going to find it.
Yeah. Hopefully later on it can be, released to the public, but until all parties involved are okay with that, or something gets worked out, for the safety of everyone involved, the episode's going to remain down. We just don't want anybody getting hurt. This is a very contentious region, talking about a very contentious issue, and some emotions ran hot, in the recording we did about an hour ago. So yeah, thank you for your patience, and we're sorry if you wanted to watch that episode and you can't find it.
There's more to come. So
there's more to come, but we want to respect the wishes of the people involved.
It's all right.
Yeah.
All right, let's go.
Yeah.
So the first one we have here is from nature.com, one of my favorite websites. Pretty
Nature.
Yeah, it's pretty backed journal. So this is from the 1st of July, and we have the powers and perils of using digital data to understand human behavior. It says here, computational social science is a powerful research tool, but it needs its different disciplines to find a common language. And also it starts here. What are the causes of vaccine hesitancy? How can people be encouraged to exercise more? What can governments do to improve the well-being of citizens? So what we understand from here, guys, apparently is, obviously humans are using computers more digital data. And we know, of course, that privacy is kind of limited these days. It's easy to know what you use, what you browse on the internet, what you like, what you don't like. It's really easy. It's getting easy to track where you go, where you don't go. So apparently they can use this digital data to understand human behavior.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Honestly, woe be to anybody who can see my search history. But
okay, I see.
That's kind of the issue with, I don't know, the internet in today's day and age. It's kind of the Wild West. There's really no intervention. It's just do whatever and see what happens. It's all very organic the way the internet is developed. The closest thing we have to anything being in control of the internet are the corporations who provide basically social media services, who data mine off the internet.
Right.
And as you said, privacy is limited. I would say privacy doesn't exist anymore. It really doesn't.
Yeah, you need to kind of set your VPN and antivirus and make sure you're not tracked and all these things. And then you're not 100% sure you're not being tracked to some degree, and your data is being used to kind of, at least put your information out there so that advertisers can get you or other things, right?
I think, I feel like the only advantage is that because everyone's online, it does kind of relieve the pressure a little bit, because it's we're going to be in a situation in 30 years where the people running for prime minister, president have had their whole lives online. And it's just going to get to the point where it's not natural in human history for everyone to have their whole life documented. And you can go back and say what this person said 30 years ago, 20 years ago. But we're going to get to the point where there's going to be almost no one who isn't having their whole life documented. And I think maybe when we get there, people will start to have empathy and realize that you just can't judge someone too much based off of singular interactions and things like that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's still a very new tool, and we're not quite sure what to do with it yet,
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, the
obviously.
internet's still a very recent thing, even though we've had it for basically all of our lives. All three of us here, it's still
Yeah.
very new.
Right. Oh, Leth asks, what devices do you think are more secure, Androids or iOS in general? You know, I've had this conversation with some of my friends who are pro Apple and some of my friends who are pro Android. I mean, it's kind of, you can have arguments for both sides. I think some
Yeah.
people would argue Apple is more secure, they're more strict. They had this problem with the, I think, FBI ones that they couldn't.
Yeah, the Apple didn't give their data over, so at least right
Yeah.
now.
So, I mean, as
think-
far as we know, in all honesty, I don't really trust any big corporation. If I'm entirely honest, I'm very skeptical.
I think the FBI like sued them because they wouldn't give the text messages of some bomber.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. It was the Boston bomber. They wanted to get into his phone.
Yeah.
And they started busting on Samsung or someone.
No, I think it was
them the key.
Apple in
Was it
San
Apple?
Bernardino, but I might be wrong.
I'm
Don't trust
not
me.
remembering the one from when I was in high school. They were talking
There's
about
like so many.
Yeah.
It's hard.
Well,
America,
here
what are
it
you
says
doing?
researchers need to remember that gathering and sharing such personal data practices that are currently largely unregulated pose
yeah.
many challenges to society. Yeah, so it's like unregulated, questions that requests, basically, like the one
Yeah.
that FBI requested from Apple. You can say that.
Yeah.
Increased surveillance. Have you ever heard about like how China tracks their civilians?
Oh,
in a crazy way?
dude, it is legit. It's like God, what's that movie?
Oh, there's like a Black Mirror episode with like the social. It's like Uber ratings. Uber ratings are actually like the creepiest thing when you think about it. Like someone's rating like how personable you are and how easy you are to like get along with. And
yeah. I mean, like, that's kind of what China does, but like they have like Uber ratings for how good of a citizen you are.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean,
well,
China's scary. I mean, I think I've said this before on the show, but I'm going to say it again. China is like the main reason why I say America should be more involved in the world. Because if America pulls back, you know who's going to fill that vacuum? The Communist Party of China.
Yeah, you're right. I mean,
is America objectively better than the Communist Party of China, though? I'm not sure.
I mean, objectively, I would say we've done plenty of fucked up things in the name of the Stars and Stripes. I'm not going to deny that. Plenty of bad things have happened. But, I mean, who would you rather have be the major global power setting the international agenda on human rights?
I genuinely don't know.
United States? Really?
Because,
how would you assume these are more credible, like more effective?
I think, it's so easy to think that America's better as an American, but then you hear stories of civilians being murdered by American bombs in Afghanistan, and then it doesn't really feel like that, But then again, China's genociding Uyghurs. Like, I don't know what the answer is.
Well, speaking of China, we have China's cybersecurity regulator targets more U.S.-listed tech companies after DD investigation. Does anyone heard about DD investigation?
I have not. I don't know who DD is, although
Tell
I
us
went
what
to
it
school
is.
with at least 3 DDs.
Well, apparently he's a guy who misused personal information of customers. That obviously means he abused the information one way or another. Says here, the Cyberspace Administration of China said in a statement on Thursday that it had opened an investigation on Ziffin, an online recruiting platform operated by Canzon. And so basically it's some kind of a misuse of information, really, from what we see.
Yeah.
So that's a problem that it's crazy how they can track you over there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, in all honesty, China has done this kind of thing before where like they have billionaires over in China, big business owners, and they can basically get away with doing whatever as long as they don't piss off the party. The second they piss off the party, they disappear. I mean, it's not the first time that the CCP has done that to a billionaire and to a big tech owner. There was there's plenty of them. What's the guy who owned Alibaba? He got like he pissed off the Communist Party by like proposing like more like deregulating and more laissez-faire, like Western style capitalism in China. And that pissed off the party. So he had to like save his ass by quickly retracting everything and like come out in favor of communism and everything, just so that way like his entire life wouldn't collapse because he made Winnie the Pooh angry. And yes, audience, I said Winnie the Pooh. We do not respect Xi Jinping on this channel.
I mean, one of the guests I really want to get on once I forgot her name. She's from the North Korean. North Korea.
Really?
She kind of talks about how she escaped North Korea and talks about her experiences there. North Korea is, it's one of the places we least know about. I mean, we kind of know some about it. We don't know really what's going on. And the people over there, I heard, are like brainwashed in a really crazy way.
I think I know who you're talking about. Yun, what's her name?
Something like that. Yeah, exactly. So.
Yeah, she's like a bit of a Republican talking head, though, right? Like he sounds like I don't know. That's what I've seen. Like the news articles, is she said like the left wing of America is as bad as North Korea.
Yeah, I mean, anybody who says that has no fucking clue what they're talking about. But but I mean, in all honesty, I would rather slather my genitalia in honey and shove it in an anthill than live in North Korea. Like, it is that bad over there.
I'm pretty sure that's her. Park Hyung-mi.
Wow.
Check her out. It's a really interesting story.
Yeah. I mean, there's a bunch of North Koreans who have escaped to South Korea that, like, I watched them on YouTube and I hear what they talk about, like what life in North Korea is like.
Or from?
Yeah, they escaped to South Korea.
Oh, South. Okay.
Yeah, I said South Korea. The ROK.
Well, it's crazy how there's no cars over there. It's only transportation.
Wow.
You know that? And you're allowed to get only like haircuts, for example. You have like a set of 25 haircuts. Only from these 25 haircuts you're allowed to do.
Yeah.
And there's only and the haircut of I think Kim Jong-un. No one is allowed to do something like that. Like him, he's the only one who's allowed to have that kind of hair.
I mean, you cannot compare yourself to dear leader.
Yeah. And the birthday of Kim Jong-un is considered like a national holiday and one of the most important days for them. So
yeah,
we should have a special episode really on North Korea. It's really interesting.
I mean, we really should. You guys want to go to North Korea with me? You want to sneak in?
Not after doing
but
this
if you guarantee you come out alive.
Oh, they don't have internet over there. I mean, literally, the country blocks all internet.
Yeah,
they have intranet.
And also, if you go there, like they will send someone with you to stay with you. Like as a journalist, we will stay with you, and he will tell you where are you allowed to take photographs and where are you not allowed.
Yeah, you get a minder whenever you go there. A government minder.
All right. Next one. So we have this time it's a short video from Eyewitness News, and this is a video that basically. Did anyone see this?
I did.
Fire in the Gulf of Mexico after gas pipeline rupture.
This is like the second time we've set the fucking Gulf of Mexico on fire in my lifetime. I swear to God.
It's crazy.
Look at that.
I can't believe that was possible.
How badly did we mess up the environment that water is on fire? We use water to put out the fire. I don't.
Right.
Oh my God.
It says the leak near Dawn Friday occurred about 150 yards from a drilling platform. The company said it had brought the gas leak under control. About 5 hours later. So
yeah, 5 hours of gas being spilled directly out of the ocean floor into the water, destroying the ecosystem. Do you know how much each of these oil spills costs the economy of every region that relies on the Gulf?
I don't know, billions?
Billions, brother. Like, you have fishermen in New Orleans constantly talking to, like, the news media, and they're just, like, pulling up all the shrimp that they just catch. And they're like, dude, look at this. You got oil in the veins of the shrimp. Like, they can't sell that. That's an entire day's catch wasted.
All right, that's a lot of losses.
Yeah. Like, I mean, at some point we have to realize the oil industry does more damage to the economy than any amount of money it brings in. Anna, what do you have to say?
Yeah, I think it's wild. I don't know what to say, guys.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah. I mean, that's why some people are like trying to see if we can find something outside the Earth that might help Earth, like space exploration or something.
Nuclear power. Let's just do that. Can we all just have nukes? I'm actually not kidding. We can use thorium. Thorium is like the safest way to produce nuclear power that has like no chance of meltdowns as long as you follow the proper security procedures. Yeah, thorium or thorium. I don't know how to pronounce it. Anyway, it is very possible to combine it with a little helper material to create an enormous amount of energy that we can then convert into electricity. In the same way we use uranium in like the oldest style nuclear power plants, but it's way safer because the properties of uranium interacts is it's way more fissile. It's way more unstable. Thorium produces a lot of energy, but is way easier to control chemically.
So, I see, but like if we did get this technology going, and if we got like free energy for all Earth, like is it easy to kind of present it? And governments are going to be like, "Hey, welcome."
Here's the thing: if it saves the government money, I think it will happen. That's kind of the thing you need to realize in all these economic situations is that if it saves money for the people who are in charge, it's gonna happen. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see the next one. We have cryptocurrency now. We'd like to follow crypto from each global. Yes, Jared. We're trying to kind of learn more about cryptocurrency here in the podcast because who knows? One guy bought like a pizza one time with like I don't know, like 1,000 Bitcoin or like 15,000 Bitcoin or something like that.
I feel like if for 50,000 Bitcoin and one pizza, that has to you better have gotten the best damn pizza of your life.
Right, but remember, you like any currency, there has to be something that needs to be bought in a low value, and slowly the value of the currency goes up as more purchases, more people see that it's used more, accepted more. But the problem is this time it's having read this. So cryptocurrency's dream of escaping the global financial system is crumbling. So why is that happening is because there's regulations being done on cryptocurrencies, and there's a lot of kind of talks that a lot of people are using it to kind of launder money or transfer money in illegal ways or something like that. So
I mean that's true. That was one of the biggest things. People always say there's it can't be controlled by governments. I'm like, dude, you seriously underestimate governments.
All right. And speaking of governments, read this. It says, though they differ in branding, almost all cryptocurrencies share a common fantasy to remove the money supply from the hands of politicians and sidestep the financial institutions that govern the movement of cash across the earth. So basically government. So this is kind of like the government. How can I say, there's another example we can give to cryptocurrencies that are not centralized to government. Is there something you can give cryptocurrencies? Maybe the the dark web, maybe something like that.
Yeah, well, I mean, the dark web is always going to be there, but I mean, I honestly don't know that much about cryptocurrencies, but there's just something I want to say to the people who are just oh, governments can never control Bitcoin. I'm just yeah, they can. They're governments. They can control how you use it and where it's acceptable. They could just declare using Bitcoin to be illegal. There's one way. Government can declare anything illegal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But also there's an element.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Oh, no, I was just saying there's also always going to be a black market, for Bitcoin, for all this stuff. But I do think that when something becomes illegal, it's just that much more difficult for it to take into the mainstream.
Yeah.
Les says that there was websites that would give you free Bitcoin. I don't know if I said this before in the podcast, but one time there was a prize. This happened, I think, 10 years ago. There was a prize, for a tournament, like a video game tournament. Number one, like prize for the first place was $500, and second place was like something like $300, and then third, like 200, and then fourth until is eighth get 150 bitcoins or something like that. But like 10 years ago, it was nothing.
Yeah.
Today, if you had that, that's a lot.
If you had that much, you have like $1 million.
Yeah, but still, it's a volatile place. A lot of people are
Guys,
losing money.
You know what's the thing is? In 10 years from now, there's going to be some kind of something that we could buy now, today, for like nothing. So we just got to figure out what that is, so that we
like cryptocurrency.
I
don't know, crypto or whatever. Like you don't know what's going to be the next big thing in 10 years, and we're going to be.
My favorite.
Y'all missed my joke.
My favorite one is XRP.
My joke is like you said like in 10 years from now we should be able to buy something for like 0, and I was just like my self-esteem. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
We'll see that prediction, Jared. Sure.
Yeah.
Cool. Trump. Haven't seen a.
Oh God! Please no.
So Jared, listen. I know your relationship with Trump, but this is literally 2 hours ago, and apparently the guy is mad about Twitter, Google, and Facebook. You know what happened, right?
Yeah, I know.
No, we live in America, and somehow didn't hear.
Oh, I don't. You live in America, don't you? Don't you?
Oh, sorry. I apologize. But
he says the lawsuit. He calls the lawsuit a very beautiful development for our freedom of speech. So he calls it a freedom of speech.
That is so Trumpian. It's a very beautiful development.
I mean, it's an argument. He said something, and the argument is like, do social media managers and like owners have to like just hunt down anything that goes against their will or the will of the public, or are you going to allow them to give them freedom of speech? Because that's what the U.S.
Honestly, here's the thing. Social media companies don't censor shit unless like they have to, because they're pushing things that cause real world consequences. Like for example, Trump used Twitter, used Facebook, used all this stuff to incite people by telling them the election was rigged, as it says right there, and these insurrectionist traitors stormed the Capitol of the most powerful government in the world.
Yeah.
Glorification of violence.
Says Twitter. Like they kicked him off because he used their platform to incite a coup attempt in the United States of America. If that doesn't warrant a company kicking you off of their personal property, then I don't know what does. Because you have Breitbart on Twitter. They're not censored. Trump incited real-world violence. You do not get a megaphone when you start telling people to go fight for shit with physical bats and start telling them to attack Capitol Police and literally beat Capitol Police with the fucking flag. Because that happened. Police officers were beaten with the national ensign on Capitol Hill. Trump does not deserve to have a fucking voice. My signal's going. They're coming for me now.
I have more mixed feelings than you, to be honest, Jared, because I know that there have been other world leaders, like Khomeini is still like out there and chirping, and like Trump is not the only person to invoke violence in some way. So part of me wishes that I feel the people who say that there's a huge double standard. I really do. And I think people have a point that there is a double standard, and not every leader gets censored the way Trump does.
Yeah.
At the same time,
it should be more consistent. I get it.
At the same time, I will say, like, since he's gotten censored, like, I feel like a calm has taken over. Like, just living here in the U.S., like, it used to be like every day you would hear some crazy news about Trump, and people would get so emotional about it. Okay, like so intense, so angry, sparking fights, everybody hating each other. Yeah. And now
you saw me just talking about that one thing. Like,
So imagine if you meet like a Trump supporter and like you're trying to have like a family dinner, like it's terrible. And that was what it was like. It was like everybody was just hating each other. And so I feel like having him banned was worth it. But I think Twitter needs to be more transparent about its policies of who gets banned. Maybe it is an issue of like you have to be a certain level of huge to get banned. I understand that because they don't have time to like censor every little person with 3 followers. But there's definitely there was that woman Fina Malik like who literally tweeted like a Hitler quote, and she has like millions of followers. She's a Pakistani actress. Like,
what was the quote? Just out of
it wasn't a real Hitler quote. It was like a fake Hitler quote.
Oh, was it like a meme?
No, it was like, I kept some of the Jews alive to show you why I killed them.
I've seen this one once.
Yeah.
Is it real? Is it a real quote?
It was real. This Pakistani, I was shocked. But yeah, it was real. It was like on the news and stuff. Like, and she has like 2 million followers. Like, she's not a small account. So, you just have to. I think like those kinds of things, like incitement of violence, when you're like past like 1 million followers, maybe Twitter should be more active about censoring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like there has to be a limit somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so if anyone didn't know, I don't like Trump. Now you do. Although that should have been pretty obvious from my general demeanor.
Speaking about President Trump, we have a Haiti president, Jovenel Moise, killed in an attack at home. This is from
I love you,
BBC News.
Haiti.
Well, I had no idea.
Did I say Haiti? Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, you said Haiti.
Sorry, my
Haiti.
bad. Apparently, I want to go to Haiti. Is that a place, right?
Yeah, it is. It's a beautiful place.
Right.
I just wish it stopped getting hit with earthquakes. Wait, also...
What's happening?
Apparently the president of Haiti was killed. Haiti's president, Jovenel Moise, has been killed and his wife injured in an attack on their home in the nation's capital of Port-au-Prince. Unidentified gunmen stormed the property at 1 a.m. local time, or 5 a.m. GMT, interim PM Claude Joseph said. He's also called for calm and declared a state of emergency nationwide. Mr. Moise had led Haiti, one of the poorest nations in the world, since 2017, but faced widespread protests demanding his resignation. Well, there you go. The nation's recent history has been plagued by coups, political instability, and widespread gang violence. UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson tweeted that he was saddened at the death of Mr. Moise, calling it an abhorrent act and appealing for calm. U.S. President Joe Biden offered condolences to the people of Haiti for the horrific assassination. Holy shit.
So we have
has been assassinated.
We have presidents being assassinated, guys.
These are interesting times.
It's crazy.
What a time.
Yeah.
And I think Haiti, it's so tragic. It has such an incredible history. For our viewers, if you didn't know, like Haiti was a nation that was founded by slaves who successfully revolted against the white people, and they won. And I think they're the only like country to successfully do that. And then what happened was the French, so they were the people who colonized Haiti. The French forced them to pay back money for the cost of them freeing themselves. So they were like, you owe us. And that put Haiti in so much debt and so much poverty that it still suffers from that today, which I think just really shows the legacy of like racism in this world and like what it can do to a country.
Racism, colonialism, the triangle trade.
Yeah.
It still affects us to this day in ways that in ways that we don't see as people of this complexion. As Americans. There's it really sucks because Haiti is a special place in my heart because while I love America, and America, hold on, let me finish, Anna, before you laugh at me. America has said a nation the government of the people, by the people, and for the people, but that has to a very large portion of our population, of our fellow Americans, that has always been and remains a sick joke. We stood up for the ideas to prove that a large country can be governed as a republic. Kings are not needed, which is an important step in human history. But Haiti did something even more important. Haiti stood up for the people who needed it the most and founded itself on the idea that no one should be left in chains and that they should be masters of their own destiny no matter what they look like. Haiti did that. 200 years before America had MLK. Haiti didn't just do that. They fought and bled for it. Haiti is an incredible country. And the Haitian people are an incredible nation. And it is truly a shame how dirty the world did them. I wish nothing but the best for the people of Haiti. Whether or not you are, like, if you're a Haitian watching this, whether or not you like the president, I hope your country can get past this instability. I hope democracy can flourish. I hope your economy can too. And I'm not a religious man, but God bless you, Haiti.
Yeah. Sending our condolences.
Yeah.
All right. So another article would be Chabad rabbi stabbed in front of Jewish day school and synagogue in Boston. This is in Jerusalem.
What school? Wait.
So it says here, the state of Israel will do everything in its power to ensure the safety and security of Jews throughout the world. This is Diaspora Affairs Minister Nachman Shai.
Yeah.
The Jewish day school kid inside of me is like, which school? Do I know them?
Yeah.
Are you hearing about this? Sorry.
I definitely heard.
I was reading about this on CNN. Like, there's been more and more cases about violence against Jews happening. Oh no! Abood, you got a virus?
Don't tell anyone. No.
Okay.
I didn't realize it was in front of a school, though.
Yeah.
So, did you hear about this where you live, Anna? Like,
for sure, I heard about the Chabad rabbi getting stabbed, but I didn't realize it was in front of a Jewish school, and it hits a little personally because I went to Jewish schools my whole life. I never went to public school, so I was very visibly Jewish when I was a kid in those schools. So it's creepy, and my brother's in one. So and both my brothers.
We didn't have to do tests on Shabbat. I mean, we didn't have to do tests on Shabbat too, but we had to make makeup exams that were
we did.
Like exams that you used to be on Shabbat. I had to remake them, and usually the makeup exam used to be much harder.
Oh wow! So that's what a lot of Orthodox people go through when they go to secular college, and that's why a lot of Jewish kids in America who are Orthodox, I guess it would be pretty similar. Like, it sounds like modern Orthodoxy is quite similar to Samaritans. We have Shabbat and we have kosher, and those are the main things. So yeah, I had to make up the SATs on a Sunday. And then when you go to college, it's really, really hard because there's all the holidays, but I stopped being religious in college.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully anti-Semitism, goes. I've been asked like by tourists about anti-Semitism and even Zionism and like how do Samaritans see that and all these things we get asked. I mean, anti-Semitism, a lot of people don't know what's the origin of the word Semitism.
Yeah.
I mean, there's like if you go to religion from the Torah, there's Shem, Ham, and Yafet, the sons of Noah. So it's considered like the sons of Shem. So that kind of covers many people other than Jewish people. Even the Arabs are kind of considered Semite. So that's what a lot of Arabs also might miss.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think words change, and just because that's where the word comes from, I feel like that doesn't necessarily mean that I've
that's
heard,
true. Like the origin might not be that important anymore.
Yeah, because I've definitely heard people say, "Oh, we can't be anti-Semitic because we're technically Semites," and it's like,
Yeah, I know. I get what you mean. That's kind. It's one of those technically kind of answers, and
Technical
it's a bit of
answers.
a cop out. But
yeah.
either
But do you
way,
ever
things
feel?
like,
I'm so curious. As a Samaritan, have you ever felt that you've experienced anti-Semitism?
like a plastic
I think I did. Not that much though.
trying to start again.
I think I did. Maybe just one time, like a kid from another grade came and like told me, "Oh, you're from the Jews up there." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like he meant that from the Samaritans. And like he tried kind of a little bit of violence. Luckily, I had a black belt that time. I was a kid.
Oh damn!
But that was like the only incident. Really, like 99.9% of my time in Nablus, growing up in Palestinian schools, was pretty calm. So.
And also remember, audience, if you want a black belt, be sure to eat abrachat tahini. It'll give you a black belt instantly. You get one drop, boom.
Has a lot of iron.
Magic
Yeah.
strength.
Has a lot of vitamins, and gets you that protein. Yeah. Speaking of tahini, you should try at least to mix it with kurkum. Pretty delicious. Kurkum is like, what is it? Turmeric.
Oh, turmeric. Oh yeah, no, I love it with turmeric.
Try to mix that with tahini. It's pretty good.
Yeah. It's pretty
All right,
easy.
we're kind of like at the end of our articles, guys. So it has
All right,
been a
good.
short segment, and it has been a pretty tough day at Help in Peace
It
today.
has. Yeah.
But we're here to have those hard conversations in the end, guys. Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
We didn't expect it to be all easy. So
No matter how uncomfortable things be, they're just a part of life, and you got to soldier through them sometimes. And these conversations need to be had. Sometimes they suck, but you know what?
You know what we never had a conversation about?
What?
We should have like a special episode about like some kind of philosophy or something like that. Like,
Ooh. What kind of philosophy?
Yeah.
like what's the meaning of life, or like where
Small questions.
or where do we come from, or like, because you might go to religion, you might go to different ideologies, you might go to I don't know,
You wanna try
solipsism
it?
even.
With the extra time we have?
I don't
Yeah,
mind
we can
going and
try.
talking.
All right. Let me pose a philosophical question.
You want to pose one? Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna pose a philosophical question. Hold on.
Okay. If alcohol is involved, it's a serious.
Okay, we have a question from.
All right.
from-
Okay. Oh, I was just about to pose it, but
Oh,
you ask it.
we have a
Hit us with
question.
it. Okay.
Give us a question.
Should we do it? It's from a friend. It is. Who is God? What is God?
Oh.
Who is God? I am God. And what am I? I don't know. Even I don't. I just appeared one day. I got bored, so I made all of you. But in all seriousness, my personal beliefs about God, I am very agnostic in my beliefs. Like, I use God more as a tool. That's what he is to me. And yes, I use him because I am still Jewish, and we traditionally use masculine pronouns for God.
I think that's sexist.
Well,
You're a bad person, Jared.
I know. Oh my God, I'm so bad. But yeah, I use God as a tool for me. Religion doesn't really have an effect on my life, and whether or not God existed wouldn't really have an effect on my life. But I turn towards prayer in times of extreme distress for me. Because it's a comforting thing. That's basically what I use God for. So what is God? In my opinion, God is a tool for me to feel better about what's happening in my life, essentially. Do I really believe in him? No. Do I care about him? No. Does he exist? Maybe. I don't know. If he did, he probably doesn't care either because he hasn't said anything.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Honestly, you can write a whole book about this question, Anna. Like, seriously. Yeah. But if I wanted to kind of like give out a few words, because I think that philosophy is kind of like you can have fun with it, really. I think it could be just play of words. I would say that you can say God is like infinite power and imagination that is used to, like, for example, uses us also to experience that infinite power and imagination, because without us there would be no perspectives, because reality in the end is perspectives. Like, even if you imagine, you would say, like, but like, how would the Big Bang exist without it? I mean, like, how, when the Big Bang existed, consciousness didn't exist, you would say, right? But like, you can like stop for a minute and imagine how was the Big Bang, right? Before humans existed. The problem is when you do that, you already imagined. So there was some kind of imagination that had to be done in order for you to talk about the Big Bang. You know what I mean? So there has to be two perspectives. It goes that deep. Yeah, I mean, that's what I can say.
Yeah.
He's or she, that's something that I don't think is really an important question. Not about sexism or not.
Yeah.
But I do believe that, I think that a lot of people misunderstand in the kind of like, and how do you spell that word? Anthropomorphize?
Yeah, anthropomorphic. That's ANTHROMOR.
I don't think that should be the case, really. But maybe like the Torah and the Bible and the Quran maybe kind of make it look like it is like that, so that people could understand better.
Yeah.
But it's much bigger. That's my 2 cents.
Yeah. We could pontificate on this for hours. What do you think, Anna? Anna Gordon?
Yeah, for me, I definitely feel you about like the anthropomorphic God of the Torah, which is the God that I learned about growing up. Doesn't really make sense to me. He's like, the character in the Torah is like a person almost, like he talks and he tells you what to do and all that. But then I find that when you start making like these really general definitions of God, like it's like the spirit and the feeling, and it becomes to the point where I'm like, okay, so why are we calling this God? Why do we need to give it a name? And I guess when I really, really think about it, for me, so I'm an atheist, and the way I was not raised an atheist, I was a very devout believer in God, and the way I kind of became an atheist was I started asking this question, and it wasn't, do I believe in God? It was like, when I look at the world, do I see it? Like, do I think there's a reason behind like what happens, or is it all just random? And I think when I really honestly like answered that question for myself, I got to the conclusion that it seems like it's random, because that explains why there's such evil things and such good things. That's just the product of randomness. You get a bell curve, and also a lot of things in the middle. And
but Anna, that depends on what you define evilness, because
for me, like kids dying of cancer, that's evil. Like a good God would not let that happen. I've never heard an explanation for that makes sense to me.
He works in mysterious ways. I mean, that's always the explanation they give. But
but we associate death with evil now, and now you kind of connect.
The ancients might not have.
Yeah, the ancients might not have. So it's like a perspective of how it relates to you, to your ego, in a sense.
I don't think there's a way to tell me that children died against their will. They didn't want to die, and it was okay. Like, I can't look at that, and there's no way I can see kids dying and think that a good entity planned for this to happen, or allowed this to happen.
Yeah.
It's more likely like.
Well, now you kind of pose the question of free will, and
it's
how
more,
can God
more a
interrupt?
Question of, is God good? Because honestly, I don't think at least the way Jews think about him, he's not really good. Like, if you read the Torah and like all the stuff he does, we don't worship him because he's good, it's because he's powerful.
Well,
Yeah.
don't forget. Listen,
that's
I
always
mean,
what I like. I mean, that's how my family kind of made me think about it.
well, remember, we don't always have the full picture. That's number one. The Torah gives us
Yeah.
some stories that, like Joseph, for example, got thrown in a well, right? And that's a horrible thing. And then he got sold to slavery, and then he got treated very badly, and then got jailed and got, accused of committing adultery. In the end, he got to be the king. Like
Yeah.
there's a lot of things that happen in this world that kind of like end up to being good. But I know what you mean. Like there's like it's hard to explain death of children, but maybe there's like we don't have the bigger picture. Think about it like that.
Yeah, I don't know. When I see that story, I think like, wow, that's a cool story, but like, I mean, that's the beauty of like literature is planned and it works out that way. But when I look at the lens of history,
Yeah.
and there's just so many people who they're not Joseph. They just die and they live lives of suffering, and I don't know.
And what kind of God that is even worthy of worship would allow?
Yeah, that's what I say. I'm like, if God exists, I would fucking I would hate him. Like, I'm not worshiping him because he's a sick motherfucker. Like,
yeah, honestly. And guys, we are kind of coming out of time, but there's one thing I just want to pull up here. Are we actually born free? Yes. Man is free and freedom is his condition. Next. But anyway, before we go, I just want to unwind a bit by reading of my favorite poem by the, I believe, Turkish poet Rumi.
I like Rumi.
Rumi, I love him. He has my favorite poem. It's the only one that I know. This is for the ending of the episode. Not Christian or Jew or Muslim, not Hindu, Buddhist, Sufi, or Zen, not any religion or cultural system. I am not from the east or the west, not out of the ocean or up from the ground, not natural or ethereal, not composed of elements at all. I do not exist. I am not an entity in this world or the next. I did not descend from Adam and Eve or any origin story. My place is placeless, a trace of the traceless, neither body or soul. I belong to the beloved, have seen the two worlds as one, and that one can call to and know, first, last, outer, inner, only that breathing human being.
That's a cool poetic way to put it.
Yeah, I love Rumi. Like even in English, his poems are.
That's really
amazing.
beautiful.
Yeah. So yeah, Turkish poet Rumi, look him up. He does a lot of beautiful things. So anyway, guys, shall we end it?
Yeah. Go ahead. I mean, it was
Thank
really
you,
an
guys.
awesome thank you guys for watching, and do not forget to leave a like, leave a sub, comment, and subscribe. We have a lot more coming up, and we are excited to have you on this journey.
Yeah.
And if you guys enjoyed the philosophy portion, let us know, and maybe we'll keep doing more episodes.
Absolutely. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter.
Yeah.
Right up there.
To our viewer, Beckfeck Ireland, or BCFC Ireland. I prefer Beckfeck. Thanks, dude. You're welcome.
Right.
All right. So, I don't know. Anna, I believe you still have some power of the Thunderstrike of Righteousness left within you.
Look, I actually made your screen bigger, but if you kind of wants to go.
You should do it. You should do it. Your screen is big now.
All right. Hold on. It's been a while. I have to limber up.
What's going to happen? You always ask yourself, you're just like,